Jose's live on TikTok right now, but he probably doesn't know our handle yet. Jose, what's our handle on TikTok for people to follow us?
I would say it's the Heron Heads.
You
That's what
would
I
say
would say.
that's what
That's
you
what I
would
would
say.
guess. That's my guess.
Okay, follow us
An
at
answer?
the Heron Heads for more great content like this, and to watch behind the scenes live as we are recording rather than going live while doing this match preview, as always. Anyways, welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave, Chris, and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for stopping by for episode 52 on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. For those of you watching on YouTube, thanks for stopping by, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons if you're enjoying the show. We have stickers, and we have new Patreon supporters. Thank you so much to our chief Heron Heads, Matias, Chao, Abu, and Ava. And also thank you to our new Heron Head supporters, Samuel, Harrison, and Fiona. Thank you so much for your generous support. And we have started to send messages to everyone through Patreon, through email, through Twitter even, just to figure out how we can get the stickers to you so you guys can start rocking those on water bottles, on your car, wherever you might like. We appreciate you. And anyways, let's talk about Orlando City, because big derby week here as we take on our in-state rivals, Orlando City, Jose's nemesis, our nemesis. And let's talk about it. Let's how's everyone feeling, because it feels a little tense already after two matches.
So I think I agree. It feels kind of tense. You know, everyone was kind of stunned with the tie this past weekend. But the good thing is we had a nice break. We had a nice week in between matches, and I think that's going to help the team a lot, especially since Orlando actually had a midweek game for the CONCACAF champion or CONCACAF Cup. So that I think that's going to be in our favor at the end of the day. I know they didn't start everybody; that some of their normal starters were subbed in later, but still they still got playing time, and you know it still takes a toll on them. So that's a plus. That's a check mark on Miami. But hey, it's Florida Derby, as some would pronounce. It's I think it's a third match that Messi's going to see Orlando, if I'm not mistaken. First one was a complete slaughter. Second one was a tie. Actually, no, Messi didn't play that last one, if I'm not mistaken. No, he wasn't here. He was on international play. So it's going to be his second one. First one that he played in, it was a complete slaughter. Second one, he wasn't there. It was a tie. See what happens again. See what happens now. It's going to be a big one. Orlando's made some key additions, I think, in the offseason that really has helped their attack big time. Their attack looks really nice right now. On paper, it's only been one match, and their first match didn't look good at all. So some nice additions. Obviously, Miami has its thing going on. We're still trying to see that chemistry, that meshing all together. We want to see the final product. So it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match. It's always a good match between Orlando and Miami.
I'm not nervous. I think I have a goldfish memory right now. Yeah, we didn't win that last match. It was a draw, but I'm excited. I think a big issue with our team is just health and getting everybody together. So a little bit removed from our last match. Busquets says he's going to be close to 100%, and he says he hasn't been 100% all year. So maybe that explains why he's been a little sloppy out there. But yeah, I'm excited. Maybe we get to see some of the newcomers come on. Maybe Freire gets in there. Maybe oh my God, his name is escaping me right now. The guy that we
Redondo.
Yeah, maybe Redondo rounds out the starting squad. And yeah, I mean Redondo's the guy that basically is taking the spot of who I thought we were going to have in Lodeiro, who ended up being on Orlando. So let's see if Redondo can get in there and show up Lodeiro, who has plenty of experience in the MLS. So that's my main thing. I want to see how our midfield matches up against theirs, and if Redondo will finally get on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for the game. I have a few guys that I'm looking at that I'm pretty pumped to see, particularly our guys, right? But definitely they're showing me my TikTok live on YouTube. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into this match. It's definitely our biggest rival, I would say. So we just gotta wait and see how how we shape up, because up to this point we've been seeing a lot of Messi, the Barca four basically getting tired by the middle of the second half, and it hasn't boded well for us, right? We have to do some kind of some kind of lineup changes. I think are they're going to be coming up soon. That it'll be interesting to see if we stay with the same lineup again. It'll be the third game in a row. Um, and yeah, I'm very worried about some of their players in the Orlando game, but we'll get right into that.
Yeah, so as Chris mentioned, they had some key additions in the offseason. They added Nicolas Lodeiro, who was also linked to Inter Miami. So it was actually quite disappointing when he joined Orlando, because we had circled him as someone that we had liked for our team. I think we spoke about it at some point in the offseason. And then they also added Luis Muriel, who formerly played for Atalanta in the Italian league. So he's obviously a strong, high caliber striker with European experience. And anytime that you add someone from that league, from any of the top 5 European leagues, you're getting someone that has experience. They're not going to shy away when the lights are shining bright. So they have a lot of firepower. Even Maguire, who didn't come from a European league, but Maguire is a very strong striker in this league. And they already had Facu Torres, right? So he is also a very high level player in the MLS. And it's going to be interesting to see how we stack up against their midfield, which I think I've been saying it now every match this season, but I think the midfield is what worries me the most heading into this match specifically, because their midfield is really strong. Given that they played midweek, albeit with some rotation, I'm interested to see if the players that played against Montreal play against us. But if they deploy a 4-2-3-1, how they did against Montreal, I think we could be in for maybe the first match of the season that we don't hold a possession advantage. So that'll be interesting to watch. And, that kind of transitions straight into the keys for Miami. How do we find success in this match? I think it honestly comes down to reducing the amount of turnovers that we have. We've been really giving the ball away in awful spots, putting our defense in really tough positions. We know that our wingbacks play really high, so avoiding giveaways when possible in the midfield. I mean, obviously you can always say that, but it just feels like the frequency has been very high for Miami. So reducing the turnovers in the midfield, I think, was going to be really key in this match, specifically when Orlando has a very strong midfield.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking
when you're talking about their midfield, you're talking about basically Facundo Torre, right? That's what we're talking about.
And Lodeiro,
yeah,
and Araujo.
I mean, they're right now. When I was looking at their film, what got me very, very nervous was just their constant scary set piece. Their corners. I don't know how much you guys watched of that, but it was pretty rough to watch, because I was like, man, if this was last year's Inter Miami, this is not gonna look good, right? We weren't a very tall team. I think this year we're probably gonna be a little bit better in that we can possibly handle it more, but we haven't really faced a team yet, right? That it was very big on set pieces, where Orlando is probably our first big test with that. Right, their main way of attacking us is going to be from outside of the box, and from their wings, try to cross it into the box. Low crosses, they do a lot of that, but also high crosses and heading it in. It's something that I noticed they're very comfortable doing it, and I'm gonna be watching to see if that's something that we're gonna be able to control. So I'm looking at Yedlin, I'm looking at Alba. They need to step up and not and keep the outside. They did a pretty good job last game, honestly, considering we played some very rough opponents in Painso and Peck towards the end. These are guys that are very, very good at getting around the wings and getting speed up the pitch. I don't know if Orlando FC's as fast as the Galaxy were, but it's still something that should be a little troubling, a little bit worrisome, because they're just good at it, right? They're just good at what they do. I'm also looking at their pressure on our back line. The center backs are going to have to be very, very conscientious of the high pressure. We're going to have to be very concerned about that.
I dare them.
I don't because I'll tell you, they had so many chances in the CONCACAF game against I don't remember.
Cavalry. Come on.
Cavalry. I mean,
Come on. What league do they play in, Jose? What league do they even play in? They play Sunday League at Kendall Park over here.
Well, they happen to not do very well, and I'm going to be honest with you.
But you know what? They scored against them.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Let me turn that around. Okay, so they play here at Kendall Park. Okay, what makes you think Christoph is not playing there too? Like, I don't know. Like,
Christoph was on the Ukrainian national team.
That's right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Put some respect on his name.
Oh, okay, no problem. But it's one of those things that I'm a little worried, because that's not something we've handled very well. We didn't handle it well against when we played Ecuador, the Ecuador national team.
El Salvador.
There you go. So we didn't play very well.
So close.
All around.
Disaster.
We're still seeing the same team. Honestly, we're still seeing the same team. I can't wait for Helen to come into the play. He's not scheduled to play versus Orlando, is he?
I read that he still might be having visa issues. That's the last thing I read, so it's still not 100% sure. That's the last thing I heard, or I read a little while ago, earlier today.
He can't come soon enough.
There's still some days. There's still 2 days left.
So that's the kind of guy that would help us in that situation. So right now we're just we're going to keep fluttering around and hoping that we do very well against it, and we haven't done well. So
we have to some extent believe that the individual talent of this team is going to shine through. And even though we can say that that's like a crutch of this team, I mean, it's just the makeup of our team. We're starting really 9 players that are considered veterans, 4 of which are European superstars in their peak, and a couple of them are still superstars right now. But we have to think with the mindset that at some point Busquets is not going to be playing how he played the last 2 games. At some point Suarez is going to get going, because it's really, yes, he's older, he's more advanced, and he doesn't move like he used to, but at some point it's going to come through and he's going to start scoring. I heard a stat, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was in the first 10 or so games in the Brazilian league, he only scored 4 goals, but then he scored like 18 in the remaining games after that. So it took him a little bit of time to get going, but once he got going, it was just flowing like crazy, and he finished as the top scorer in the Brazilian league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At some point, the technical ability, the level of the individual talent that we have is gonna shine through. So who's to say that's not this weekend against Orlando? I hope it is, but at some point it is going to come through, I think.
At what point do you think? Sorry, Chris. But at what point do you think that we start like messing around with the starting lineup and not getting our usual suspects in there? Like, I know there was chatter about Messi getting a break, about there needs to be chatter about Busquets and Suarez maybe not starting, maybe coming off, maybe not playing at all one match. At what point do you think that starts becoming a reality? Because I definitely didn't think it was going to happen the first match, and I didn't think it was going to happen the second match because it was in LA. But this match looks like it might be a prime match for somebody to take a seat.
I don't think we'll see till after the first CONCACAF match. I think the Orlando match is very important, and I think the CONCACAF match is very important. I don't think these are the matches to do it.
I do think there will be
home, right? Especially at home. That's the thing. I do agree. I do agree with David, though. I mean, how many games we're going to play in a row with the same team, and the same team seems to always get very tired at the same time. It's like it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. It's not bad to sprinkle in a reserve or 2. You know what I mean? Just one.
I just think we're coming off of a week rest. So right now, Saturday's still a good time to play your complete lineup. Your CONCACAF matchup is still a good time to play a complete matchup. The following weekend is really when you should be resting. You've played these 2 back-to-back matches. You probably have a team that's pretty tired at this point. And that's when you'll start seeing rotations, in my opinion. I'm not sure who we play the following week, but I think that's a good time as far as scheduling goes to start rotating.
I think there are 4 players that could be rotated out of the starting lineup.
I think
Taylor,
there's one. I think there's
Robert
one.
Taylor, Diego Gomez, Gressel, and Christoph. I think any of those 4 could be rotated out.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not even the one I was thinking that needs to be. Let's be honest, right?
Say it, Jose. Say it.
I think when you have Luis Suarez dragging ass by the first half, by the end of the first half, he's asking for some sort of help. You know what I mean? Put in Campana, let him be then you give Luis Suarez the opportunity to get healthy for the next game after that. Just give him a few weeks rest. That's our strongest position in the sense of we have a guy that can play at a top level. You know, and he's young. He needs run. We need to give Campana some run, and he would do well. He would do. This is a very physical team. This is now okay. Would I rather Luis Suarez against a physical team? Yeah, absolutely. Luis Suarez, I feel like that's where he thrives. I'm going to be honest with you. But does it mean that he's his? I mean, you know, there's only so much you can do, man.
Also,
that'd be the first one.
With the emergence of Borgelin, like that means that we can actually but rest Suarez an entire
Hasn't he
match.
emerged though, Dave?
Well, the fact that they've played him
right
in a live match means that they're starting to trust him a little bit more, and they're putting him in as a supplement. So you can start Campana, and when he's getting ready to be subbed off, you can put Borgelin in there to kind of just make sure that Suarez gets an entire night off. Because sometimes I feel like they might feel compelled that they have to put in Suarez because they don't have another capable backup, capable striker in there. But Borgelin has shown them a little bit of something, and I think that might help alleviate the stress of Suarez.
I also think the rotation is going to lean heavily on if Redondo does play this weekend or not. If he's playing this weekend, we may see, like I think Julio, you said Robert Taylor, or was it Julio David, saying Robert Taylor will be rotated off, and maybe we'll see Gomez going up to left wing, taking up his space so that Redondo could play in that midfield. I think that's a very decent rotation if we want to rotate this weekend. If Redondo plays, we still don't know.
Yeah, I think these are all very interesting points, and to some extent, it would be really cool one day. I don't think it's today, or I don't think it's Saturday. It would be really interesting to see Borgelin and Campana, or Campana and Suarez, or Borgelin and Suarez. Some sort of 2-striker formation, I think would really suit us so much better. When Taylor's not getting involved in the match, we just don't have wing play outside of our wing backs. And having 2 central strikers will really help vary our points of attack, I think, in a way that would really open up defenses. Given that we get width from the wingbacks already. I mean, Messi's never playing so wide. He really drifts a lot centrally. And man, I would love to see a 2-striker formation or some sort of deployment of 2 different strikers. Because I look at Borgelin more as a central striker rather than a winger. I think by trade he's a winger, but really I see him as just a big physical body to throw in the middle of the pitch where people can run off of him. And I really just would love to see a 2-striker formation. I mean, we've been calling for it for a while with Campana and Suarez, but yeah, Dave, to your point, Borgelin, maybe not so much that he's emerging, but it's very clear that he's in the plans for this club because they are playing him. They are putting him in at the end of matches to try to make a difference. The fact that he was put in against LA just shows that they think he can make a difference. So it would be really interesting to see some sort of rotation, some maybe change in formation when we see Redondo come in, like you said, Chris. Those are all really good points. And I think things that we'll really have to keep an eye on as we get closer to this match and we get some clarification on who's available and who's not. We have still yet to see Freire. He didn't sub in last match, did he? So we have yet to see him. We still don't know if he's fully fit. You know, he stated that he wasn't fit ahead of the Salt Lake match, and We just haven't seen him since preseason. So, whether he'll be available or not is also still up in the air, but he's a logical rotational piece for Kristoff. And we'll obviously get more news as we approach the game and more of these little press conferences happen after training. But for Orlando City, what is the way that they beat us? Because I think there are a few paths to victory. Most notably is if someone will finally make us pay for the mistakes that we make. Because so far, we haven't really been punished to the extent that we should have been punished for our mistakes.
Well, if we're honest, if we're going off of the last game, I don't know if they're gonna make us pay very much. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's something that they're gonna have. I think they're gonna have a lot of chances against us because I do think we panic way too much in the back line, and they're just constantly gonna force us into turnovers that we really, we have no business turning it over like Gressel in the last game. Those kind of plays, I do think that this is a very talented Orlando City team where I would almost think that they're more talented than Galaxy. I'm going to be honest with you, and I think that their strengths are actually our weakness, which makes it a little scarier. Where they're a very well-rounded team. They're not just wing heavy. They're very good at keeping the ball. They're very good at stealing. And they're going to make us pay. What helps us out, in my opinion, is that we're catching them very early in the season, and maybe they're not going to be the same Orlando team later on as they are right now. There's no way, because they've brought in a lot of great talent, and they have to gel. Whereas we don't really have to gel as much. We really don't. I think now when we get Redondo, we're gonna have to bring him in. But I mean, the four Barca boys have been the four Barca boys, and they've been together for a very long time. And honestly, it's incredible to watch Alba and Messi just sync. And that's the kind of stuff that you're not gonna see Orlando with right now. Maybe later on, but right now, no.
I feel like we haven't seen that right now with the four Barca boys. I do feel like they need to gel. I haven't seen even how they played last season. The three of them, they don't have that same chemistry this season. I don't know if it's because of injuries or what, but they haven't looked as dynamic. You've had Alba and Messi been able to play off each other. That's how we got that goal that last match. But Busquets has been completely off to start the season, completely off. So he's been off, and then Suarez has literally been off. Like every time he's in attack, he's offsides. So no, they absolutely still need to gel. So I do think that they need to correct some things for this match, and we're not going into it with off the best foot. But
I was only saying it in comparison to them, where they have a lot of new pieces where we don't. Right. We really don't. There's that excuse for us does not apply as much, right? It's more so like, that I think they're longer. They're longer into the future when we're going to see their finished product. We're closer to that. Whether we like what it's looking like, that's a different story. But I don't know how much more we're going to get to, because we also have a lot of aging stars, whereas you get more from younger talent, right? Like long
Lodero's no spring chicken either.
Right. So I would caution about the whole.
Busquets is 35.
I would caution being the whole thing about being a whole new team and new players in together. LA Galaxy literally signed 2 players a week before they played us, and look what they made us look like. Peck, when he came in, he was an absolute disaster for us, and Paintsel was running back and forth all over our defense. Whether he finished or not, he still made the defense look silly.
That's not stuff you need to gel.
Just signed. I'm sorry,
but that's not stuff that you need to gel. That's just straight talent, which they have. Like those two guys, you know what I mean?
Peck made a beautiful pass across the box for that goal. I mean, a good player has got it, whether he's new on the team or not. And like David said, Lodero is not a spring chicken. He's been around for a while.
He's a year younger. He's a year younger than Busquets.
Yeah, Muriel came from Serie A in Italy. He has plenty of experience. So yes, these guys haven't maybe played together for a very long time, but they have a ton of experience. and they're top flight players. I mean, Orlando's no joke. You know, their attack is solid. So I would caution saying that they have to gel a lot and all that chemistry stuff. I think they may show up a lot better than what they did against Montreal.
Yeah, I will say though, to Jose's point, when you look at week 1, scoring seemed to be very low across the league, and to some extent, I do think it is the rust factor, the getting into midseason form. So to Jose's point, there is some benefit to playing them now. However, you could say the same about our team, like you said, Jose, like you said. But
I love Chris's cup. That was a very nice cup that he showed. Just randomly just showed it.
Lovely. So yeah, I do think there's a benefit to playing them now. I do think they are more of a technical team rather than like a speedster team. They have a lot of players that can sort of just dissect the defense and play a pass in behind. It's just going to be about, can they punish us? Can they find the back of the net when we make a silly mistake in midfield? Hopefully there's not many in this match, but that has been a huge problem. And that's where Orlando can really, tee off on us. Hopefully we just see our players shine through. We've been waiting for sort of the release of Suarez, for Messi to keep doing Messi things, for Busquets to really tighten up the passing. The passing has been shocking from Busquets. Shocking. Like the amount of times he loses possession so far has been really worrisome. So we really need to see that.
It's been like dumb passes, like little flicks behind his back. Like, why are we trying to do that? Just play solid football
and it's too slow for it to like happen, because it would be fine if he did it a half second sooner. But maybe it is the age. I don't know, but it's just like it's not coming off for him. So we need to see across the board just a tightening up, getting more into form, and just improving, because it's not good enough what we've seen so far. And I think that's the main point.
So I'm really serious. I'm really curious. Not serious. I'm not very serious. I'm very curious.
You're seriously curious.
Seriously curious to see what Orlando has learned from our first 2 matches. I think both of those teams showed sort of a blueprint that maybe teams are going to start catching on going forward. We saw with RSL that the second half they started high pressing a lot, and that worked for them in the second half. And then in the LA Galaxy match, we did see that same pressing, which seemed to work very well. But if you notice, if you go back and watch, their back line stayed pretty far back. The LA Galaxy coach is known to actually push up their back line a lot, to play like that high line sort of defense. And he didn't. He actually changed it up a bit. He kept it back. What did it do? If you notice, we didn't have these long passes against LA Galaxy that we saw against RSL. One of the long passes being the Robert Taylor one, where he scored against RSL. We couldn't see those long passes going through their defense because they really stayed back a lot of the time. So I'm curious to see if Orlando plays something similar. I know Orlando's a much better team than both of these that we played already. Maybe they stick to their more traditional style of play that they're used to. But very curious to see if we do see more pressing that Julio's daring everyone to do, and if we see some of that back line stay back, or it's going to be interesting. I want to see what teams start learning as they see other teams start having success against this strong attack that Miami possibly has.
All right, so who are the key players for Miami? Who are the key players for Orlando? Who are you guys spotlighting as your players to watch for this match? I'll go first. I want to keep it in the midfield. I think Busquets really needs to show us more. He is one of our marquee players, whether it's a flashy position or not. If he is wrong, it really destroys a lot of what we try to do, because he is the connection piece from our weakest position group to supposedly our strongest position group. And if he's not functioning in that role well, it is just a recipe for disaster, because if he's giving away the ball, it puts pressure on our defense, which is shaky at best, and it just puts us at a huge disadvantage in the match because our wingbacks are so aggressive that then all of a sudden a turnover, instead of being a 1-on-3 or a 1-on-4, becomes a 2-on-2 just all of a sudden. And it's just too much, and eventually the dam is going to break. So I think Busquets, for me, is the player to watch for this match. It might be all season long that I'm harping on the midfield because it really is the metronome that's going to keep us going. And then as far as Orlando City goes, I'm going to focus on Maguire, sort of in the same vein, because if he is able to take advantage of any mistake that we make, then it's going to be a long day for Miami.
It's interesting. They were actively trying to get rid of Maguire. They were trying to loan him out all offseason, and then at the very end, I think the deal fell through.
He has a point to prove.
They did transfer him, but it was like a late fax or something. Yeah, it didn't go through. They did.
So then, whatever. I mean, tough Nuggets. Now they have an extra decent player on their team. I'm actually going to be watching Jordi Alba in this one. I think that we got a little taste of what he should be doing this at the very end of the last match. Hopefully, Tata will just unleash him and let him do more of that. And like our good friend Taylor Twellman was saying, do less sticking back and defending and more pushing the envelope forward. But with that, you need the back boys to really step it up. So I'll be interested to see if Freire gets a start out there, if Busquets actually can hold his stuff, because if he's turning the ball over and Alba's pushing forward, you can't win like that. And that's why I think that they've been a little hesitant to let Alba go forward, because the passing's been so atrocious in the back. And then as far as for Orlando, I'm looking at the new signee Muriel and seeing if he can bring his Serie A scoring prowess into the MLS, because I don't think I've seen it yet. And yeah, hopefully we don't see it for at least another match.
I'm looking square at the 9 position. I haven't seen anything up to now from Luis Suarez, and I think that's what we're all hoping to see. I think if we're putting goals on the board, it's going to just put more and more pressure on the opposing team, and we haven't really gotten that from our striker. Think about that. Like from our striker, we have not gotten a goal, and it's like, okay, like when is it going to come? And we need it. So I'm saying the number 9 because I do have a hunch that maybe Luis Suarez doesn't play to start. I don't think he starts. I do think Campana. This is kind of where we got to put him in, man. We got to really see what he can do on this offense, and then you also look at the other line. On Orlando City. I'm looking at Facundo Torres. This guy is playing very well for Orlando City, and he seems to always be around the ball. He seems to always be in a scoring position. Whether it's like whenever Maguire, what I'm worried about Maguire is that, man, that guy heads the ball like it's incredible. He always finds a way to get it over there, and yeah. So I'm nervous about Facundo Torre. Maguire is a great choice, Julio, and if Luis Suarez gets a goal, I think we win straight up, because that just tells me that we're on. Because if he's doing something, that means we're clicking.
They think they're so cool with their Facundo.
We're missing our Facundo, our Facu. Sad. So my players to watch. I'm gonna go with someone that we continue to be high on, Sir. Jesus Christ, Gomez.
Sergei Kristov is what you meant.
No, never.
The Freudian slip. Love it.
So Gomez, I'm looking at the midfield too. I think Gomez is going to be key here. I think we're finally going to see him finish. First game we saw he missed a bunch and he scored. Second game he had two really close ones that he missed as well. I think he positions himself so well. He plays defense very well. I think he's going to be key to kind of slow down these good midfielders that we've been talking about on Orlando City. I think he's going to be very key. Physical play from him is going to be a major factor to slow them down on the defensive side. But on the offense, I think he's going to continue getting in the right spots. I think we're going to see him finish. We'll see him finish this weekend. I think he'll have a goal this weekend. I feel it. Yeah. So on the Orlando side, I'm gonna go with Angulo. You guys have mentioned all the other guys. We're forgetting about Angulo in the center mid position as well.
Great choice.
And I think he's gonna sneakily, maybe not score, but I think he'll get an assist or two in there. He has a lot of guys in front of him to make the final touch to score. But I think he's gonna be a facilitator. I think he's gonna be a key to their midfield, and it's gonna be interesting. That midfield matchup has me very, very intrigued, because our midfield's supposed to be very strong. Their midfield's very strong. It's gonna be an interesting one to watch there.
I think there's a stronger. I agree with you. That's the key matchup. If we can overcome whatever Orlando's throwing at us, that's where it's going to have to be in the midfield.
All right, so the moment of truth, guys. Davestradamus.
All right, Captain Dave.
We're sticking to the sailor hat, huh?
Captain Davestradamus is here, captain of the Icon of the Seas, sponsored by Jose. Yeah, so I think that this is going to be, again, goldfish memory, like I said at the beginning of the episode. We're going to dominate this game. Everybody's going to be clicking, and we're going to win 3-0, cruise to victory. Alba gets an assist, Suarez gets a goal, and Messi gets a goal.
Surprised he didn't go with the bold hat trick from Messi on that one.
Nah, I mean, relax.
So I do think we do get on track somewhat. I won't be so bold as to say 2-0, but I do think 2-1, which I generally consider a very cowardly prediction, because you're going to say that they win, but that also the other team scores. But I do think 2-1. I think in most matches, the prediction that both teams will score is pretty straightforward. Our defense is shaky and our offense is allegedly good. And I think it will be good this match. Orlando has some decent defenders. Thorhalson is someone to watch as well. He wasn't mentioned, but he's going to be an interesting player to watch at the wingback position. But I do think we get on the board. I like Schneider Borgelin scoring. And then, yeah, why not? I'll go with Luis Suarez getting on the score sheet as well.
That's who I got. I got Luis Suarez scoring. I think that'll help us get to a 2-1 win as well. It's just the reason why I say 2-1. I agree with you, Julio, in the sense of it's cowardly. I would like to say 3-2, but I just don't think that we are there offensively, and I don't know if we're gonna get it on track against this team. You know what I mean? Like, they're very, very well rounded. I really like their team. It's a really good team, and it's just gonna be a headache for us. So I think it's going to be very similar to this Galaxy game where it's a tight game, 1-1, and we just score at the end with a miraculous Messi, stunner. You know what I mean? It won't be a Luis Suarez late goal situation, I'll tell you that.
I'll be crawling to the ball, be like, oh.
So I'm going to go with the even more cowardly decision and go with a tie. We're going to go with a 2-2 tie. I think we match up very well with this team. Like we said, the midfield is going to be key here. Possession is going to be key. I think it's going to be a battle of possession the whole match through. They are going to score. Their high-octane offense against our defense is not very good. All they've been good so far. But yeah, hopefully we see Freire in that center back position instead of Christoph against this attack. But we'll see. I know I had to throw that in there. Sorry. So yeah, I think Diego Gomez gets his goal, like I said a little while ago, and I do think Suarez finally scores. I think he's itching to score. He wants that goal. So I think it's a Gomez and Suarez show.
So all four of us predicted Suarez to score. If Suarez doesn't play in this match,
book it.
Woof.
That means it's not happening.
Then I switch mine. I'm gonna do what Davestradamus used to do last year. If Luis Suarez is playing, then he will score. But if he is taken out, I will put Campana as the person overtaking those goals, and then he will be the one to rise to victory.
Campana's quest for Golden Boot starts this weekend. If Suarez doesn't play.
If he doesn't play, if he doesn't play, Golden Boot.
That's right. If he does play, then Suarez is up for the Golden Boot.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Come on, don't be a coward. Where's Cocky Inter Miami fan? He hasn't arrived this season yet.
No, he hasn't. He's very, very distraught with what he's watching, and I still think we have enough. I just think it's going to be a snail pace. You know what I mean? Just cruising to victories, not necessarily dominating. It's a different. It's a very different dynamic that we have right now.
Guys, we never lost. Never lost.
Top of the table, mind you. Top of the castle. Top of the castle.
Just think about that. We're top of the table in the MLS, and we haven't shown anything. Like we don't look good at all.
Exactly.
We haven't done anything well.
We haven't done anything well.
And look at us.
Imagine when we do.
Look at us, huh?
Have some faith. Come on. I don't like this. I don't like the cowards. You guys got more and more cowardly as the predictions went on.
Did
Jose's
Dave
shrinking
a
off of the
6-1
screen?
victory or something? I must have missed it.
What?
Did Dave say that we're going to win by 6 or what happened?
He said 3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
The least
That's not a big
cowardly
deal.
prediction.
That's not a big deal. Put some hair in your chest, but say 6-0.
Hey, let's do I saw a meme earlier today. I told you guys about earlier. Talking about hot takes. It was about the hot takes for the whole MLS. So my hot take was Luis Suarez gets it going. Luis Suarez gets the Golden Boot. So I want to hear your hot takes for Inter Miami, just for Inter Miami, not for MLS.
Didn't we do this in the season preview?
No, not hot takes.
All right. Hot take, Schneider Borgelin finishes with at least 5 goals this season.
That's a good one. Dave, what do you say?
My hot take. All right, let me think.
My hot take,
Noah
Campana
Allen
overtakes
gets-
Luis Suarez.
Noah Allen gets 1 goal.
How about Noah Allen is our starting center back by the end of the season?
That's not a hot take. That's a disaster take.
I mean, it could be a hot take.
No, from the framework of he's earned it and he's good enough and he changes all of our minds.
Over
I mean,
Toto and
we've
Freire,
already-
like over one of them. That's bad. That's bad.
We don't think he's bad right now.
Or it's good
right?
because then the others are so much better than him and Noah Allen raises his game. I'm doing a hot take on your behalf. I already said my hot take.
This is not mine. Don't put this on me.
Noah Allen over 0.5 goals for the entire season is a bet I would take, is all I'm saying.
You're welcome.
I would say hot take, Gomez is going to be one of our highest scoring midfielders. That's not a hot take? You don't like that?
He already has one.
I mean,
He's already
we're also bringing Redondo.
He's already the midfielder with the most goals.
Redondo, let me tell you right now, not a scorer.
I think he's better than what we got.
he's a facilitator, defender.
Vasila, baby.
He's a facilitator,
Facilitator,
baby.
baby.
I think we're going to bring someone else on this summer.
Not a hot take.
I just want to be Jose Damas. You know,
Here, Jose, say that we're getting Kevin De Bruyne. That's a hot take.
All right, so I think no, we're not.
But now I said that, so
I think we're getting Neymar. No, weak. All right, damn.
I thought you said
Jose's wearing a sweater.
Chat.
He's obviously very cold.
In the group chat, didn't you say Modric?
he's
All
sweating.
right.
He's sweating from
All right,
being
you
live
guys
on
want-
TikTok.
You guys
Let me
want a
tell
hot
you.
take? You guys want a hot take? All right. We're coming for every trophy this year. It's not going to be close. You guys just put your babies away, put your kids away. It's not going to be fun. We're going to destroy all your teams. That's what's going to happen. And not only that, but we're going to do it with Noah Allen at center back. How about that?
I don't think you understand the point of this.
Nope.
Put your babies away.
Hide your kids, hide your wives.
Messi's coming for that.
All right, Chris, any other games that you want to play? After
Nope,
that went
that's
so
it.
well.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Any games, Chris, that you want to just like splurt onto us without any like
No.
like we literally went through this look at it on TikTok. There's a good thing that TikTok's around because Julio was carefully drawing up what we're gonna talk about, and then Chris just goes like this, and he goes,
My job here is done.
"No, I'm
Good
gonna
night,
talk
everybody."
about this." That's it. We're wrapping up. Chris, you have anything else to say?
Job here is done. I'm good.
Job done?
We'll
Job
see.
not done.
Job done.
All right, guys. Well, Saturday will be really interesting for the match reaction. The match kicks off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the free match of the week on Apple TV, and apparently will also be on Fox Deportes, and not sure if Fox Proper or Fox Sports, but it will be on one of those two. So just make sure you're checking if you're interested in watching the game. Make sure you're checking where it's available to you. And as far as the match reaction, we will go live later in the evening, and we all may or may not be here. So make sure you tune in to check it out, and hopefully it will be a gleeful and happy match reaction as we take on Orlando City. And hopefully it'll be 3-0. But for now, thank you guys for tuning in to the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.